What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As you saw last week, it started, which is huge. I am super pumped about that. With that being said, if you watched to the end of last week's video, I did talk about a few problems that... Un momento. As maybe you heard me say in last week's video towards the end of it, if you watched that far, if you did, thank you, I appreciate you. If you did watch that far, then I'm going to get this out of the way. If you like what you're watching, if you like what you're seeing, help me grow this thing, because I enjoy doing it. It's fun. It's like a little bit of a, notebook that I'm writing, kind of, sort of, for things for me to look back on and things like that. So if you're liking what you're watching, if you want this thing to grow just like I do, then do me a favor. Like, share, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Do the annoying thing first, get that out of the way. If you do want to leave me a comment, let me know whether I'm an idiot, whether you're doing something similar, or if you have any questions. I'm happy to help. I'm not saying I'm this big wealth of knowledge, but I've gotten this far, so there's something to that. Anyways, let's get past all that junk. This thing started, as you saw in last week's video. What I did mention is that there are a few things that I do need to fix with it. Some things that I noticed, and just some things I need to do in general. But let's kind of go over what those were as just a refresher. Thing one, every time I revved it up, I noticed that the alternator belt and the water pump belt, well, they're the same belt. I noticed that the belt looked like it wanted to come off the pulley. The only thing I can adjust on the front of the motor to hopefully bring that belt closer to the block is the alternator. So I have some spacers here that I will probably be cutting to the size that I'm thinking. I really only need to take a little bit out of it. So I'm going to cut those a little bit smaller than the ones the spacers I currently have on it, and hopefully that takes care of that issue. Thing number two is that the rear float bowl fitting on the carburetor is leaking. Now, to take care of that, I do have these hanging around, so if I have to put new fittings on, I do have the ability to. My hope is that that fitting just needs to be tightened a little bit more. It's in a tough spot to tighten, so maybe I just didn't get the wrench on there good enough. So the first thing we're going to try is to tighten it up. If that doesn't work, then I will be putting a new fitting on, and hopefully that solves that problem. Thing number three is I have to hang the fuel lines. Well, not hang them, I got to mount them to the car. At the moment, they're just kind of laying underneath the car because I didn't want to hang them and get them all situated into place and out of the way, because I was like, well, I did build the fuel lines myself, so if they leak, then, you know, I don't want to have to take them off the frame to fix that leak. But fortunately enough, at the moment, nothing's leaking. So apparently I did a halfway decent job of making those. So I do have to hang those up out of the way. They were nice enough to give me a bunch of these, which I will hopefully make work. But if I can't make them work, yeah, zip ties. Thing number three. Nope, that was thing number three. Thing number four. This is just a side quest because I'm kind of the king of side quests. I want to get the wiper motor to work. I have a spare switch on my little auxiliary switch panel, and I have a wiper motor, and it's a street car. So me personally, I want to get the wipers to work. I know that they work off of, well, most of them work off a resistor. That's how you get your varying speeds. I'm just going to have one speed. My hope is that it's a manageable speed and they're not just whipping all over the place. That would, if that's what it is, then that's what it is, and I can just toggle them on and off if I need them. My goal is to not drive this thing in the rain, as I'm on like street radials, so they don't really have, it's not a good rain tire, but it's a street car, and I do plan to drive the wheels off this thing, so I am expecting to run in some rain here and there. So with that being said, I do want wipers. I do need to buy actual wipers though, because I took them off and I think I probably got rid of them because I wasn't thinking back then. Because remember, this was supposed to be a race car, not a street car. So I got to buy the wipers. But I have the wiper motor there, so I want to try to make that work. That is what we got going on in this video, okay? It's kind of where we're at. Should be a decent one. Should work. Still going to hear the car run in this one. So if you want to hear the car run again, it will be in this one because I want to make sure that my alternator belt doesn't want to come off and I want to make sure that fitting doesn't leak. So we'll be firing up the car again in this video. So if you missed it in the last one, then stay tuned and we can fire it up again in this one. With that being said, I'm done with this. It's time to get to work. So let's go to work. All right, so here we are at the front of the car. I apologize if it's a little hard to hear me. Listen, we're in upstate New York. It was 30 degrees the other day. It's back to 16. So I have this mic that has noise canceling. It's the new mic. So my hope is that it sounds better and the noise canceling works halfway decent and you don't hear that as much. But it is what it is. I can't help it. I'm not going to do this cold. I'm sorry. I just can't. So what we got going on up front is I already made these spacers because I'm an idiot, and I made them my own size because when I put this bracket on the first time, I thought that the alternator looked a little too far back, which is why I then made my own spacers to bring it out. Well, because I'm a genius, it's now too far forward and I got to go back now. With that being said, I'm an idiot and I should have just trusted ICT Billet from the beginning. They're a very reputable company. I feel like they know what they're doing and I'm just a Neanderthal. So I do have these spacers from other things that are from ICT Billet. So it's the same material and things, but I'm going to cut them. I'm going to take that length that I made those, shorten it like that much. And hopefully that brings the belt a little bit closer. So I've taken a measurement with where the belt was sitting and how much of this pulley I have left. This belt was hanging off the edge. I did kind of push it back, I did kind of push it back up that way. So I can't show you exactly how far it was hanging off, but it was hanging off about that much. So I want to take that measurement, shorten it up just a hair, put the alternator back on, and then, try it out, see if I'm smarter than I was a month ago when I put that on, or if I'm still the same idiot. Okay, so this is what we had. And this is where we're at now. So I don't seem crazy. This measurement here is how far the belt was hanging off the one side of the pulley. So we're about there. I think it's going to work. Or I'm going to look like an idiot. Good thing I am really good at looking like an idiot. So let's go slap these on and finish up a few other things, and then we'll get around, we'll get back around to these and see if they work. Sounds good to me. All right, so I got this thing wired up. So I got it wired up. I don't know if it's going to work. You guys have the best view in the house. Well, the best that I can get. So kind of going back on what I said is I don't have the wiper arms for this. So really I have to buy them, but it'd be really neat if this works. Okay, well, the car needs power. Ain't gonna work without that. All right, and we're back. Show action. Hell yeah. Look how exciting that is. Isn't that so cool? Up, down. Oh yeah, look at that. That might be the slowest wipers I've ever seen. But it's fine because they work. So, streetcar. God, that was so stupid. I can't believe I wasted my time making those things work. The motor sounds like it's struggling hard, so I don't know if I have a lot of life left in that motor. But for now it works. So, to review where we're at. We are 3 out of 4 done. I'm running out of time and motivation. I don't think 4's getting done. I don't think I'm rehanging those fuel lines. So really, the only thing left to do is to fire this thing up and see if my alternator debacle is taken care of. And my fuel line debacle. Make sure it's not leaking up at the carb. And making sure that that belt stays on. All right? That's where we're at. Let's fire this thing up. Let's check those 2 things off the box, and we'll regroup afterwards. Alternator charges. That's all I wanted to check. All right, so a quick scene change. We went from running the car to sitting at my wife's work to pick her up because I didn't have to work today, but she did. So whenever I don't have to work and she has to work, I like to drive her to work and pick her up just so that way she doesn't have to worry about it. I don't know. I'm a good husband. Regardless, what do we learn after firing it up? The belt still wants to walk off. So I changed the pulley back to the smooth pulley because it actually just chucked the belt off when I had the red pulley on there because the belt was too big. So put the smooth pulley back on, and yeah, the belt still wanted to walk off. So with that being said, the alternator still needs to go in. Honestly, probably another 1/4 inch. So I got to figure something out there. I didn't bring it in as much as I wanted to originally because the bolts bottomed out in the head. So I had to make different spacers to make it work. And, well, we're still losing that fight. So I think I got to find some smaller bolts so that way I can suck that alternator in closer to the motor. And hopefully that takes care of our issue. On top of that, we did fix the fuel lines. Those are fixed. And I have wipers. So did I accomplish everything? No. Did I make progress on everything? No. But what we do know is that the fuel lines don't leak anymore. The battery charges at 14 volts. And I have wipers. I did not hang the fuel lines. And I did not fix the belt walking off. But you know what? That's for another episode. So with that being said, I'm going to turn this off now. thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, like, share, comment, subscribe as always. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I'm signing off. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.